Welcome to Behind the Blast, where I'll be sharing my behind-the-music making-of glimpses into the technical and performance side of making original music at home. Things I've learned, gear I'm using, problems and fixes, getting the take, mixing, tips and tricks, yada yada. Because finished product is good, but it's the process of making it that's where it's at. I hope you'll also share something about your own creative process, whatever it is that you're making. So join me, Narcho Blaster, Behind the Blast. For my latest song, Pretending to Talk, I was interested in producing a synth bass sound. I have to acknowledge that I got really inspired by Scott Devine and Ian Allison of Scott's Bass Lessons on YouTube. They're a really excellent resource for bass players. For a long time, I'd had an octave divider on my pedal board, but really hadn't found a use for it. But the sound of a synth bass is something, I grew up on. Many of us did, listening to 80s new wave bands. So I decided to learn how to get that sound into my own bass arsenal for Pretending to Talk. So let's have a look at some of the most well-known songs that either use a synth bass that can be simulated on an actual bass, or have bass parts that use effects pedals to achieve a synth bass sound. So one song that a lot of people are familiar with that uses a bass synthesizer is the song Chameleon off the Herbie Hancock album Headhunters. It was played on a bass synth, but it translates pretty well to the bass guitar. So without any effects at all, it sounds like this. 1, 2. Okay. Nice, but we can do better. To get us into that fat synthy territory, we can add an octave divider. And I'm using the Aguilar Octamizer, which adds the same note you're playing, but one octave below. Let's give a listen. Okay, good, but we can do better. If you listen to the song on the album Headhunters, Herbie Hancock is using an envelope filter to give this kind of meow. Envelope filters were all the rage back in the 70s, classic funk, really personified the funk sound. And I'm using the 3-leaf audio Proton in the down sweep position. So an envelope filter can give that upsweep quack sound, or it can give this kind of laser meow meow sound. So let's add the envelope filter. 1, 2. Man, I could play that all day. Last piece of the puzzle here, adding a chorus to the bass gives this kind of sheen, makes it more machine sounding. I'm using, this is a Japanese pedal maker called Providence, their Anodyne Bass Chorus. Let's give that a listen. 2. So the other thing to factor in here with what I'm trying to do in trying to get a synthy sound on the bass guitar is playing on a fretless. There's a famous precedent, though, Tony Levin's part on the Peter Gabriel song Sledgehammer. Big part of Tony's sound on that is playing on the fretless with a pick, which is kind of unheard of, playing through the octave divider, playing through a compressor. So I'm using the Empress FX bass compressor, and again through the bass chorus. So let me see if I can get an approximation of Tony's part there. The other fan favorite that people always associate with synth bass is the, well, I always thought it was a bass part played by Bootsy Collins in Parliament Funkadelic. Turns out it was a keyboard part. Bernie Worrell, the keyboard player in Parliament Funkadelic, layered together apparently several keyboards and got this amazing sound in the song Flashlight. So again, the octave divider, heavy compression, envelope filter, bass chorus. Let's give it a go. 1, So that was how I learned how to get synthy on a bass. One important thing for me is that it was all done with just analog effects pedals, no ones and zeros anywhere to be seen. Very much an old school approach, making funky synthy bass lines just using an analog octave divider, envelope filter, compressor, and a chorus. So I hope you'll check out my latest song, Pretending to Talk, to hear the result. Look for Nacho Blaster on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Music. Until next time, have a blast.